This is the Violent Professional Podcast.
All right, let's discuss something before this podcast. I usually have an outline that we work off of, much like everything when you're doing creative type of stuff, just to guide your focus. Is what I do. It's what I do. Do you see a record on there? Is it like a red? Can you see that? You got?
I see a little red dot. Yeah.
Okay. Let me
check. It's on the left side.
Yeah. Yeah. Man.
I do have 20/20. By the way,
I do not. I got contact lenses, but they're old.
I just keep them in my pocket. They're like not even in a case.
They're fucking dry. I just
got lint on them.
They're all old and shit. Little pieces of glass.
You don't my mouth pouch.
You don't wear contacts, but I've put in like, it's weird. This sounds fucking horrible. I'm about to tell you something that I've done in my past multiple times. Some contact wearers do this. You have a hard contact that's in the case, and maybe because you're supposed to put them in.
Did you fucking suck on it? And then...
Yes. It lubricates it with your own lube. I have my own lube.
All that mouth bacteria in your fucking eyeball.
And then you get fucking stinky eye, and you're just like, what's the better solution for? That's kind of a weird thing to tell people. Like, I lick my contacts and put them in my eye.
Well, what if you're like in the field, right? And you're out doing something. You just don't have the capability to wash that shit out. I'm out of fucking water.
I would rather tell people I have pink eye than fucking, you know what I mean?
I scratched my butthole and then touched my eye and I got pink eye.
Yeah.
Like, no, I sucked on my contact and put it in.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So when I have new contact, I have contacts now that I can throw out like every day. I don't. I just keep them in there for fucking months on end. It's almost like I have good vision, you know, But yeah, that's fucking weird.
Dude, I saw some video of some lady that had like 26 of them stuck up like behind her eye.
They
pull that shit. Oh, they pull
that
that
is something
shit
that can happen. She is irresponsible with her own health. Though.
Yeah.
That is a little
some
ridiculous.
old lady.
I have in the past put contact in thinking I took it out or whatever, and it was actually like up in my eyeball.
Oh fuck.
And you can also get them like stuck to your fucking cornea, right? Get them stuck and you're pulling it off, and it's like you're pulling your fucking cornea, dude. It's like a suction cup. Like, there's weird shit that can happen with it.
Fuck that.
But yeah, point of that is I can't see if it says record or not sometimes. And you know, as we've had in the past, animal train. That reminds me, train. We got to talk about fucking Warzone, the new development.
Oh, yes.
We're gonna give everybody a little tips on video games here. But yeah, like with Animal Train, you know, it was a fucked up recording. That was like one of the best episodes that like changed this whole fucking podcast. But it wasn't recording, so I get super paranoid about it. And if I can't really see because my contacts are old, that it doesn't say record.
Yeah,
I'm like, fuck, this is all for naught. All for naught. God forbid we just have a conversation, you know, about cool
without
stuff.
people seeing us.
Yeah. Like, I've never like had one where like we're not recording. I'm like, that was worthless. Don't ever come back. You know? Anyway, we had something that happened before this. Well, it's been going on for a while, and I don't want to get into too many specifics because whatever reason, there's no reason to it. I don't have to fucking call people out, but I just want to bring up the subject of liars.
Yeah. Habitual.
Do you want to go over like the type of people that, like, without being specific, like when you run into like fucking pathological liars? For me, it's like I have, you know, a lot of interest in psychology. Not like I want to be a shrink or anything, but I'm just interested in wondering why people do shit the way they do, like good, bad, or otherwise. But like, I like to focus on fucking crazies a lot, and because I've been doing it so much and interacting with people like that in the past, like you day to day, like especially lately with COVID and all the stuff. Fuck! I just gave us a flag on this episode. No, with all the stuff that's been happening, it's more obvious that they're out there. And I think for me personally, it's easier to spot it relatively fast and quicker when you meet some of those people. I think it takes a few interactions, and then I'm like, I think there's something going on here.
Yeah, you're good at reading people.
Yeah. I wouldn't say like my first impression of people is...
Well, you got to get the benefit of the doubt, right?
Yeah.
People could be awkward in their first situation with somebody else.
Yeah, And I give everybody the benefit of the doubt, and then maybe I'm just like, maybe it's I don't want to judge people too quick, but then when it's like a repetitive thing, I can kind of pick up that there's some shady shit going on, especially when people like continuously say bullshit, you know?
Yeah.
So what's your, on the subject, do you have any experience with this, or what's your impression of people that do this?
I've been around it a lot, which is unfortunate to have to say, you know? So being in the position I am, not considering like my employment, but like my social life, right? My social life, I'm around a lot of people that are veterans, you know? And I'm not one, clearly.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of people think that I am one. However, being around some of these people over time, I find out they weren't what they say they were, you know? And I'm like, I didn't have to make shit up to be cool in this circle. Why do you have to make shit up to sound cool in this circle? You know?
Yeah.
Especially to impress somebody like me. Like, I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like, if you served, great. I don't care what you did to serve. I'm going to treat you as equal. If you were special forces, I'm going to treat you just like I do this dude that cooked burgers and on the fucking shit or clean toilets. You know what I mean? I got the same respect for both of you as of what kind of person you are, not for what you've done in the service. If you want to tell me about it, cool. But if you make shit up, we're going to find out. Yeah. We always do.
You know, that on that subject of like people do think you're a veteran.
Yeah.
Because of who you are and how you act and carry yourself, stuff you wear, like, or it could be like the Tastev shirt, the we the people hat, like the beard, right? Like people could be like, this dude is a veteran, just assume that. And you could run with that. But because you're a good dude,
I could have ran with that this whole fucking time.
And nobody would be the fucking wiser.
No,
you could just say some shit like, "Oh, I was in comm," and like people would be like, "Okay," and then you could have a plausible deniability.
Yep.
But the problem is, like, people don't do that. They will start to say something, and it's more in line with like doing something cooler than they did, or like people assume
they know they did something less cool. So they want to elevate their own status. So if it would be like if I was a habitual liar, right? And somebody thought, "Hey, man, you were special forces. What do you think about this?" I'm like, "Man, this guy thinks." Well, I think, you know, I just go with it, and I'm like, "Yeah, well, this is what I think." Oh, he thinks I'm fucking cool because of something he thinks I did.
Yeah,
but I didn't really do it. That elevated my status. Now I think highly of myself. Now I want to be cool to these people by just continuing this fucking story.
Yeah.
That's what I think goes through a lot of people's minds when they're having conversations with people they don't know, and to remain friends with them, they got to just habitually continue with that story.
Yeah.
It's sad.
And I look at it like this, like everybody has lied in their past. I've lied. You lied?
Everybody,
completely
every
honest?
Fucking buddy has lied.
You say you're completely honest. You're a fucking liar. You're a fucking liar. No, but there is a difference between having told lies in the past. Because I got in trouble for lying when I was in the military because I got fucking injured and I wanted a buddy to go deploy. And I thought that if I said that he beat the fuck out of me, he wouldn't deploy. And so I lied for that. And plus, like, I was trying not to get in trouble. But there's a difference between, like, doing, like, it's not great. It's not a great thing. I lost pay and stuff. Like, I got fucking punished. But there's a difference between, I think, doing that, and I'm not justifying the lie at all. I have owned that I have fucking fucked up while I was in because I got fucking injured and beat the fuck by this dude. And then just doing it on a day-to-day basis, pathologically and manipulatively, and like to benefit yourself and whatever that is, financially or otherwise. But like when you're doing it for attention, that's especially fucking cringy and creepy. Like,
it's,
you know
especially when it's not about service too. I just said service because it had personally something to do with me, right? So service in the military. But what we're saying is it doesn't have to be military related. This could be in your social life with anybody, you know.
Just anything and everything.
It could be somebody that works at a place you used to work at and they're like, "Yeah, I was a manager once," and they could just not be a manager at all.
You have no way of telling.
Yeah.
But then add all that shit.
You want to take people for their word.
Yeah.
And give them the benefit of the doubt, like we said.
Yeah.
But then
you know what my biggest
just shit turns out to be like, well, you pick up on these little things and you're able to read people based on that, and you're like, it's one of those times they're gonna say something that is along the lines of something you have knowledge in. could be something completely unrelated to normal conversation, but then they say something a little bit outlandish, and you're like, wait, I know about that topic a lot.
Yeah.
They're fucking lying.
Yeah,
why would they say that?
That's the problem with it when you continuously do that and then make that a habit. And part of me is like, are the people that do this, are they like, do they have, I would hate to say like it's, you can label anything broad stroke mental disorder or like mental health issues, but I don't know. It's like an attention thing that like they just want to do because it makes them feel good, and it's manipulation, and it's like definitely selfish. When you could just be, if people like you, then that will change their perception of you once the fucking truth comes out that you're fucking lying, right? Like it's a weird thing. It makes me feel fucking dirty when I'm around.
Well, here's a tip though. You know, when you're listening to somebody talk and they tend to have a lot of stories that you're like, wow, this person is real. This is the most interesting man in the world, right?
Yeah.
Like the commercial. Either A, they are the most interesting man in the world, or B, they're full of shit.
Yeah.
Right? They've got a few cool stories, but they could just start making them up as they go, because you're going to fucking believe them. And you're like, man, you're so cool. That's cool. Oh, what you did right there was cool. Here's a little tip. Look into it. All right? Study it. Don't call them out every time. But if you're starting to, like, oh, something in my mind is telling me that's bullshit.
It's a little bit off.
Look up what they're saying. Yeah. If you have a gut feeling, go with it. Don't just be like, oh, you're fucking lying, aren't you? Just be like, you know what? I'm going to look that up because that doesn't sound right. You know, just to get your mind into the same storyline they're trying to tell. And you'll be able to tell right away if you're looking it up, if they're lying or not.
I think also like you have when you're younger, like this is some knowledge about being a 40-year-old dude now. When you're younger, it's easier to fucking, you get to a place where you're like, fuck this dude, he's lying. And do it in front of people, right? But then there's a consideration for other people. Maybe they have friends, and you don't want to like influence them to say like, hey, like people that you think they may be full of shit. Because everybody, I think at this stage is like everybody's, if it's obviously dangerous or someone, it's financially harmful to somebody, then maybe you step in, or it's gonna like fuck somebody's life
up.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like maybe you step in, but when it's just like, it's kind of like harmless bullshit that's just like attention nonsense, it's like I think personally you gotta let people be adults and figure it out for themselves.
Let people burn their own bridges, especially when they don't connect anywhere. You know what I mean?
It'll be absolutely obvious that like this is what's transpiring is when you have somebody like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. It's tough. I'd like to say I don't run into too many people like that, but in the past few years I've run into a few, and they kind of.
Well, what's bad is you run into those few, but they stick out a lot.
Yeah.
And it weighs heavily on you. Not personally like, oh, this is affecting my life. It's more like this is an annoyance. It's just fucking tapping me on the shoulder and it won't fucking stop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
because they keep going. And you're like, I just want to.
I try to ignore it a lot, and but if you ignore it, it seems to draw more attention when you're not feeding that fucking energy, because it's almost like to those people that want the attention or whatever. And on the attention, just remind me, I'll try to remember myself, but why people do it. I listened to a podcast the other day. It was like the psychology of people that do this kind of shit. Unrelated to the fact that we're talking about. This just so happens that whatever.
We time traveled.
Yeah. It seems like when people want attention in that regard, and they'll say anything to get it. The people that don't feed into that, those are the ones they are like kind of latching onto, unless they're like completely, it's obvious to those people that like, oh, I don't want to fucking talk to this dude because I'm going to get absolutely the wrong kind of attention. It might blow up my whole fucking thing.
Dude or chick.
Yeah.
Could be anybody.
Especially those evil women. She's
like, I swear this is my first time.
Yeah, this is my first time.
You're
I've
a fucking liar.
Everything is your first time. Bethany, is that her name? Bethany. Are there any girls named Bethany?
I feel like yes.
Yeah.
I feel bad for him.
Comment below if you're a Bethany.
I go by Beth for short.
Beth, there's got to be. That's got to be the fucking long form. I'm sorry it ain't Bethany, but you probably are fucking liars. It sounds like a lying-ass name. It's like Stephanie, but you're like, I'm Bethany. That's stupid. What the fucking kind of name is Bethany?
And it's all your fault, too.
Yeah, it's not your fucking, the fact your dad came in your mom, and then you're this fucking Bethany. A child of single parents constantly. A mom that has been abandoned by every man, and no one knows who the father is. Bethany.
Poor Bethany.
Beth with a F.
Beth's going to comment and be like, I have 2 loving parents, and they've been together for 23 years. I'm sorry, Beth.
You're sued. It's like, anyway, hopefully in kangaroo court. The whole lying attention and like doing stuff for attention, chaos. We talked about psychic vampire shit. But there was a podcast I listened to where they were talking about people who do this stuff. And to those people that want attention, it doesn't really matter how it is, whether it be Instagram, celebrity, fame, fortune, whatever. It's all the same kind of thing to them. It's like a weird, whereas like people are like, I want to be respected for my achievements and accolades in my career. There's people that cause chaos and disorder and all this stuff because subconsciously or consciously it creates attention, and it's negative attention, but it doesn't matter because that's the easiest shit to get. You can just one day like walk in here and be like, Mark, you want to do a podcast? And like walk into the studio and just take a big giant shit on the floor. And you're like, but to people like that because you're going to do that eventually in a long enough timeline, you shit on the floor in the middle of the podcast studio. To people like that,
I'm taking a shit right now.
I'm wearing diapers. No diapers,
I'm just
straight balling it, dude. He's deep.
Why's your face like that?
He's deep in thought. Mark, your thought. What's your thought on this?
You look like. Why are you sweating?
What a shitty comment. Fuck, I lost my train of thought. So people that have that, it's like it doesn't matter the attention. It could be the yoga chick that's spreading her fucking butthole on Instagram. She's getting attention. That could be both negative and positive because she's getting both, right? It could be somebody who's like a famous musician and they're like a fucking asshole on stage because their performances aren't that good and they just are like a dick out in public. It's like, look at Kanye West, look at like anybody that's kind of outspoken and crazy, like saying wild shit. It's almost easier to do that. Like,
yeah.
And the money and all this stuff, it's like the money's a byproduct for some of that stuff, but in those people's cases that do shit just for attention, it doesn't fucking matter. Them doing stuff for attention is the same. It doesn't matter. It all meets the same end when they're getting attention because that's really the payoff for them is the attention.
Yeah.
And once I heard that kind of, I'm paraphrasing, but like when I heard that, I was like, man, that fucking makes so much sense for people that do this shit. Because like those people, and you've seen it before, like say on social media where somebody gets called out for some, like they've been lying to everybody.
Yeah.
And like, for example, Liver King right now, he got called out for steroids and the motherfucker was obviously using steroids. If anybody was surprised
from
by
day
it,
one.
Yeah. You can't look like that. There's some podcasts where like you have to be an exceptional human being and a very small percent. It's like no one can do that.
It's not possible.
No one. But like what happened with that, you can look it up. But when he was called out, he did this bullshit ass apology thing, and then he went right back to saying liver is fucking king and all this shit because it's his marketing thing. And he kind of like just. What did he do the other day? He was like smoking a cigar, $1,000 cigar rolled on a virgin's leg from Cuba. And it's like, that's obviously creating reaction. It's a negative thing. It's easy. The production value is shit. Like if we're talking about like the Liver King who has this high production value and he's doing this thing, saying this bullshit that like $1,000 cigar, the cigar looks like shit. And maybe it is. He's like facts, just being a dick. It's like he's almost turned the corner into being a villain now because he's like, if you look at heroes and villains, right? Before he was heroic when you're talking about like what he was doing for people because it gave people a positive mentality, but then he turned the corner and now he's a fucking asshole and he's doing asshole shit because it's easier to do. And he doesn't give a fuck about like, and this is people like him, right? He doesn't give a fuck about like what the end state is or what the middle part is or the journey. It's like, just create as much attention as possible.
Well, what's bad about him too, right, is that he doesn't read his own comments. He's not in there talking to people. He has a publicist, just like anybody else with that kind of a following has, right? So he's not getting that feedback of all the negativity. He's getting the feedback of the positivity. Hey, guess what this person said? They agree with this. And he's like, all right, he's not hearing the 3,000 comments that say you fucking steroid piece of shit, right?
Yeah.
So he's just going along, building his own persona and realizing that he himself is godlike, because his publicist is telling him that. So he's like, oh, well, people aren't as mad as I thought they would be about my steroid use, so I'm just going to go back to Liver King and keep feeding him bullshit about liver.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, rolling a cigar on a virgin, it was probably like a boy virgin, and it's like, you know what I mean? Hairy legs.
Yeah, he didn't say that part.
It's a 40-year-old virgin.
Yeah,
They're
he didn't
just
say
rolling it on his hairy legs.
Yeah, it was weird. That video was weird. He's like an 18-year-old virgin's leg, but it's like, why? Okay, so
he didn't say 18-year-old, did he? He just said a virgin's leg.
18-year-old virgin. It was like he's being.
At least he kept the 18-year-old.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like, how do you know the age, dude? And how do you?
Because
you don't know the gender.
Because when you say virgin, people these days automatically assume a younger than of age type person.
And he's laughing and shit. He's probably got liver in his teeth, just fucking godly. Did you see the Andrew Schultz podcast clips where they had him they were talking?
Oh yeah,
they were talking about how bad he smells. Like you can only imagine. He's just got
doesn't wipe, right?
Come out crispy and hard. Like get out of here, dude. It's fucking gross. But anyway, yeah, that's my little fucking
dude. That's an example being called out, because on the podcast he was on where he said he didn't wipe, they're like, never, really, you don't wipe.
That was Barstool Sports.
Yeah, and
right?
he's like, no, I don't need to, right? But they kept pressing it, and he's like, oh yeah, okay, every once in a while I'll wipe for assurance. Bullshit, you wipe every fucking time. Yeah. They called you out and you fucking got you gave in a little bit. That lets me know you're a fucking liar.
Yeah,
because they had that feeling up the back of their neck. This guy's fucking lying.
Yeah.
He wipes. Everybody fucking wipes.
How could you not? You know who doesn't wipe?
Dogs.
Dogs. Well, they even do on the fucking grass.
Sometimes.
But I'm sure that if you're a cannibal, you don't wipe.
If you're depends on the type of person.
Why the fuck would you wipe?
Depends on the type of person you're eating.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're eating a fat slob, you're gonna have some nasty shits. I would assume.
I wonder if that's.
I mean, not that I've eaten a fat slob.
Yeah. I wonder if that's the difference. This is an early segue because I want to talk about Call of Duty, or maybe we could do that afterwards.
We do it. Yeah, it's fine.
I wonder if like a different kind of person, like if you eat a different kind of person, like a big fat person,
dude,
would you have diarrhea? Versus
so I saw this study,
hard liver
right?
king shit.
I think it was the Smithsonian had a study that talked about the flavor of human flesh, and they talked to cannibals that were in like tribes, and they translated languages and stuff, but they had similar things to eat around the world, right? So there's wild pigs, there's wild boar, there's cows, there's different types of meat that people around the world have shared. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, these specific cannibals told this person doing the study that the meat that they had eaten in the past, the people they had eaten in the past, was akin to pork, the flavor of pork.
Yes.
So
it's supposed to be the most similar.
Yes, most similar animal anyways. That's anatomically, right?
Yeah.
So these people saying that it was the texture and the color of beef, but the flavor of pork, right?
Oh, that would be delicious.
So if you think, okay, these people were eating this specific group, they're from the same region, right?
Yeah.
So what if somebody from a different region has a different build, a different body type, a different diet? They could taste completely different, right? Just like if you eat pork that's grown on eating hazelnuts versus pork that's grown on eating other pork. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's going to taste different in some way or another. And the fat content's going to be different. The meat is going to be either leaner or just way more fatty, marbled. Think about marbled human meat. You know?
You find me on any given day of the year, I could be lean or fat. Like, dude, I go like, I've been running a lot lately. Because I've like just been getting unhealthy. I've been drinking for fucking everybody knows. If I would be a liar if I would say I don't like to drink beer. I still do. I'm just not right now. But imagine like I lose weight super quick and I gain weight to a certain level. I'm like in this window right here, and I can go from top to the bottom in a period of a fucking 2 weeks. And it's like a huge, huge number. It's about 30 pounds I can go up and down. And people might be like, that's scientifically impossible. I'm like, I'm fucking telling you.
Look, I've never taken a drink in my entire life. Now find out if I'm lying or not.
Yeah. Probably, I would say realistically 3 months. I'm like up and down or whatever. So you find me on a Monday, I might be a delicious, succulent morsel in your mouth, especially my ass cheeks. Which is what David has said before when I questioned him, what part of a human would you eat? He said the ass cheek.
I'm glad you didn't preface that as what part of me would you eat? Yeah. He's like, I'd take a chunk of that ass.
Yeah, I would eat your dickhead. It's the fatty.
Just that.
I didn't know if dicks could grow fat, but they do. Huge mushroom tip. So yeah, anyway.
Imagine eating like a jack dude that's at the gym all the time. He's just full of fucking
tough
hormones and fucking it's just tough and lean and there's just no flavor. It's just real fucking dry meat.
Do you think like pork, right? It's similar is what they say. I have no knowledge of this, but like pork, you could just put on like a fucking 180 degrees or 225 or whatever and just let that bitch sit on the fucking the grill all day, the smoker.
Good chunk of thigh.
Yeah. Dude, I've had some fucking pork ribs that are shitty.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, you can trick people.
It's a delicate art.
You could cut the ribs all nice and be like, why are there that many ribs? It looks weird. They're spaced differently. They're a little bit bigger.
These are long ribs.
Yeah. But I mean, you could like cut them in a section, right? And then smoke them like all fucking day. Probably be delicious. You wouldn't be able to tell.
I bet there's people out there that have eaten human flesh and not known it. Because some cannibal was like, I'm going to feed people to people.
Yeah, I told you in Missouri.
Was it Missouri?
Yeah, it was. I was skydiving up in Missouri,
lines,
and they caught these two dudes that were fucking giving...
slanging that human meat out of their freezer.
Yeah. And now there's
y'all want some pork?
There's some conflicting things, and I've gotten comments that people that listen to that episode, and they're like, that's fucking bullshit. And I was like, how do you know? How do you know? Did you get meat from them? So there's some things that's like, oh, that was just, they were suspected of that, but it was, the human, you can look it up on Google. The Missouri cannibals.
That's not the first time it's happened, though.
No, it happens all the time. There's actually surprising, alarming amount of cannibal events. Like, go to modern day.
Yeah.
You think Jeffrey Dahmer was the last one? It's like, no, this shit was happening fucking last year, dude.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And he was making sandwiches, right?
He was doing a lot of stuff.
Try this sandwich.
But the focus of today's podcast is going to be cannibalism events. Cannibalism through the ages. But I picked out 4 different events, and feel free to look up any other facts like you usually do. But there's a surprising amount of times that people have just on their own and like traumatic events like the Donner Party. There was actually like a whole bunch. The Donner Party is the most famous one. But like there was actually during that time there was a whole fucking bunch of people doing the same goddamn shit that was going over
movies
Colorado.
Off of it all the time.
Yeah. There's some surprising ones like the book Moby Dick is actually based on a cannibal event that an actual sperm whale bashed a fucking boat and they all got like stranded out in the sea on like kind of the dinghies, whatever. And they ended up eating like 5 people out of the party that survived it. But it's like there's a lot of things that are based on cannibalism in American literature across the world.
Remember that soccer team that crashed like in the Andes or something?
Yeah,
and then they're like,
there's a movie about that.
Yeah, and they fucking ate some of their teammates.
Yeah.
That's the only way we could have survived.
Yeah.
I think they were already dead.
But... You gotta watch the dude that eats the dick first and then or the fucking asshole first.
Everybody's just taking chunks out of parts that like they don't see or don't matter, and then somebody's like, give me that dick.
A lot of them are like eating dead people after they die.
Yeah.
A lot of it's like in the event of the Donner Party, it was like they got so fucking crazy and ravenous that they like were killing each other.
Yeah, that's wild.
To fucking like little kids were doing it too. Like it was actually look that up after you fucking hear this. If you're interested in this kind of stuff, look that up, and that's a fucking crazy wild story about what actually happened. Like when they came and rescued them, and they like see all these little feral kids eating people and shit.
Yeah,
that's fucking nuts.
Side note: we are not condoning any cannibalism.
I am.
If you have tried human meat, comment below.
Yeah.
Tell us what it tastes
man.
like.
I want this podcast to get a little darker, twist in some satire and comedy. And
Don't go killing people to eat them. But if you've tried it in the past,
yeah,
let us
comment
know.
under an anonymous thing, and like I'll fucking talk about it. Like, hey, we got a comment from a serial killer, and he fucking is eating people down the road. Let's interview him. How's that taste? And it's like, blah, blah, blah. We got to put like a filter
voiceover.
Yeah,
It tastes really good.
yeah. I didn't think this one
It
through.
tastes like shit, but I can't get it off.
Yeah. So anyway, I want to change some of the subjects. There's a there's a focus. There's like 10 things that I'm not going to keep it closed to those 10 things, but if something strikes my interest, we're going to do it. But I think like people that listen to this podcast want to hear certain things. And one of them is like bloody violence, all this fucking maybe crime shit. I'm not turning into a true crime podcast because I'm not that knowledgeable on any of it. But just doing what we've always done, but maybe focus a little bit on certain things.
Oh yeah, and I tend to have like a pretty wide range of basic knowledge or just extensive knowledge in random shit. So
Yeah.
that works out perfect for me.
Sweet. So before we get into this section, this is a good time to pause and say, if you like this episode, what we're about to talk about, or what if you listen to it and you're fucking turned off by it and you're like, fuck these dudes, and you want to share it, it helps us grow. It's really, with everything going on in social media and otherwise, like I refuse to pay for fucking ad space. So like sharing this podcast with your friends, giving it a rating on Spotify or iTunes or whatever other fucking type of communist ass platform you listen to. Give us a rating, give us a fucking a follow, share, whatever. Tell your friends about us if you like it or hate it, and it helps the podcast grow. So
There's going to be a plethora of people sending this video to somebody else and saying, "Look at these fuckers," or "Listen to these jack-offs." That's going to be awesome.
I asked people
any publicity is good publicity.
Yeah. I asked people to rate the podcast. Like I've done it in the past. Like, go rate it because it like helps the exposure of it. And it's funny to watch when you see like everybody doing a certain rate, like a 5-star, and then just one motherfucker comes in and he's like 1 star.
1, I didn't finish.
Yeah.
1, I finished too fast.
Yeah. I came before they started
like
fucking
what
bullshit. I was waiting for the fucking whole story. So have you ever heard of the siege of, I'm gonna butcher this, Shuiyang in China?
Shuiyang.
Suyang.
Suyang.
Do you know how to say that? You speak.
I speak
language?
Cantonese.
Yeah.
Suyang.
Suyang. Maybe we're getting this wrong. Siege of Suyang. Up to I'll bring that back. So it was between 25 January and 9 October of 757. That's very specific.
AD?
Yeah.
Okay.
The siege of Suyang was a campaign for the city of Suyang, China.
Racist motherfucker.
Yeah. Just saying that's going to be it.
We're just saying it all weird.
That's going to be it.
Why do we sound ethnic?
You can't even say
Suyang.
You can't Suyang. Da, 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 da. You can't even say that was like Japanese. You can't even
You just said da, 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 da.
da, 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 da. I've heard videos of people doing that. It's like those fucking videos on Instagram. Da, 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 da. Yeah. This dude speaks Japanese actually.
I do.
In the future, you can't even say fucking places because they're like, you're racist. So, Suyang, China. Hold on. Siege of Suyang was a campaign for the city of Suyang, China, by the rebel Yan army against the loyalist forces of the Tang army.
Tang Dynasty, yeah.
Although the battle was ultimately won by the Yan army, it suffered a major loss of manpower and time. And this is where the cannibalism happened. Zhang Zun ordered them to eat the flesh. Afterwards, they caught the women of the city. When there was no more women, they turned to the old and young men. And between 20 to 30,000 people were eaten during that time.
That's a lot of fucking people.
That's like they fucking and I don't.
That was over a few years, right?
Yeah. So they did. I don't think they won, is what I remember. It was like a failed siege. But then all of the people that were of the city that were like left over, he ordered his fucking soldiers to eat all the people. So there was like a fucking ton of them.
I wonder if it was like, did they just go in and slaughter them on a weekend and then just fucking have a big bake-off or like cook-off type thing?
Dude, they have a barbecue cook-off.
Right? Or did they just like take them captive and then kill them slowly one by one and then eat them. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
we need more. Bring in 3. You know.
Yeah. You know who could have helped
20
them?
to 30,000.
Yeah, it's a lot of people. That's a big gap too. Like 10,000. That's not a.
Yeah.
That's kind of a big gap. It's kind of like
Yeah,
when people
that's
vote
an
and
estimate,
you just
but it's
don't
still,
know.
I mean, it was
Yeah.
700 AD. So I mean,
Yeah.
did they tally them as they? Oh, we did 6 more.
They have specific dates: 25 January to 9 October, 757. They know it's specific, so why can't they say?
Man, that's a lot. That's a lot of people in a short amount of time.
Yeah,
But
that is a
if
lot.
their army was big enough, I could see how they could just. I mean, just think
it's less taboo
Dude.
back then, man.
it had to be. But think about how big that army had to be. If it's 20 to 30,000 people, one versus like 20,000 people. You know what I mean? Like, what if their army was only 25,000 and they ate 20,000 people?
Or what if they they found a specific tasty part of the body and they're just like, I'm just gonna eat that, and they just fuck all the rest of this, and they're like,
I'm just gonna eat the liver.
their fucking parents like, you must finish all of your meat. How can you get pudding if you don't eat your meat? You know what I mean? There's a lot left unsaid because I didn't research it, so we don't know.
We leave it
We
up to
just
interpretation.
We just don't fucking know. There was a lot of people eating.
I was there.
I was more focused on the fact that potentially 30,000 people were fucking eating
In one
Eaten.
place.
Like, that's fucking crazy.
Did they have a long table?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, like a really long table. And they brought the people out with an apple in their mouth on a fucking thing. That's weird. All right, so there was a lot of people eating over the history of humankind.
yeah.
It was less taboo, and you could get away with, like, and that many people, that many soldiers, if you wanted to try human flesh, you could totally have done it during that time, and no one would have, like, did you eat the human flesh? No, man, I didn't touch that.
No, that was the other group.
That was fucking you, dude. And you could have gotten away because that's a lot of meat. Or maybe it was like 5 people that ate that many people.
It's weird because, like, if that happens in a different part of the world, it could be for a completely different reason. Not like these warriors were eating people because they were going to starve to death if they didn't. They can't eat all their livestock because those livestock animals are used for sieges, right? Or horses and stuff. Whereas a different part of the world, they could eat him. They're like, but I had to eat him because I needed to gain his soul.
Yeah,
I needed to use his energy.
Yeah, and there's some of the, like, in India that happens a lot, actually.
Yeah.
That's going on today. Like, this isn't like a phenomenon that happened a few
African countries. They eat them to gain, like, medicinal purposes, right?
Yeah.
To, like,
prosperity.
I need to gain his knowledge so that I can be smarter.
Yeah.
So I had to eat his brain.
Supposedly that's happening in North Korea right now.
It's
too.
probably happening here.
In China. Yeah. On that side of the wall, I've got a feast prepared. I might have been barbecued last night, like putting fucking running wires.
What's that smell, Mike? It
Yeah,
smells
yeah.
fucking good, man.
Surprisingly, I haven't burned shit down yet. It's amazing. In 1603, a French youth named Jean Grenier claimed that he was a werewolf.
Probably Grenier.
Grenier claimed he was a werewolf and had killed and eaten 50 children, and who had recently gone missing from the town of Saint Sevier. He was convicted of lycanthropy. Do you know what that is?
Lycanthropy. So it's back in the day they did witch hunts, right? For people,
Yeah.
for women specifically.
I have a podcast about that.
Lycanthropy is like witchcraft, but in werewolf sense. So they're saying, oh, this guy, lycanthropy, lycan means like wolf-like.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
lycanthropy is like, oh, this person is engaging in werewolf activities.
Okay. Yeah, and during the 1600s, I think the witch killings happened in 1600, from what I remember in my studies. That was a perfect time because then people would believe that like werewolves and shit exist.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing. But maybe all of them were killed and we just don't know it. Maybe they exist.
Maybe this guy was actually...
Yeah. He was like, no, I'm seriously a werewolf. Your kids were shitheads.
That's why I ate him.
Yeah. So there's a 50 children. It doesn't say if it's
That's
true
a
or fake.
lot of fucking kids to eat for one person.
Yeah.
I wonder how long it took him to do that.
It seems 1 year, 1603.
It's a pretty steady diet of just child flesh.
Yep.
That's crazy. It's gross.
Boone Helm, also known as the Kentucky Cannibal, was an American mountain man serial killer and fugitive who ate human flesh on several occasions between 1850 and 1854. It's pretty recent. We're getting closer. Often out of necessity in extreme conditions. He made no secret of the fact and is reported to have many the poor devils I've killed all one time or another. And the time has been that I've been obliged to feed on some of them.
You know what's wild about that is like that's where legends start to come into play, right? They talk about
Don't go in them woods.
yeah, because you know what's out in them woods? The Wendigo or the Wendigo or whatever they call it, right? And they say like a Wendigo or Wendigo was once human, but they ate too much human flesh and were out in the woods for so long that they built a taste for it, and then they transformed into this creature, this beast, because of it.
Yeah.
This guy was on his way to become a fucking Wendigo.
Yeah, maybe.
But they caught him just in time. And
He didn't take on his final form.
I couldn't transform. They got me.
He just walks out in the wood with his sack tucked.
here
He's
in
like, I'm the
Kentucky,
way to go.
They let me go and I made KFC.
Yeah.
So you're eating human flesh.
Yeah, dude. Maybe that's the start of KFC.
Shit.
We found it. How old is KFC? Is it were they founded in 1855?
I think it's a bit newer than that. But,
Okay.
but it took a long time to develop those herbs and
Get you
spices.
a bucket of children.
Kentucky Fried Children.
I do mean Colonel Sanders, don't I?
Yeah.
Unintentional, but I do it. What are you doing in my cave now? Not a great example. In May 2018, the Reddit user, the U and the slash. I'm not a Reddit dude, but I've been on there before. Incredibly Shiny Shark is his name. His handle on there. He discussed how he legally obtained and then cooked, ate, and shared an amputated foot with. This is fucking awesome because
From his friends, right?
Well, his amputated foot with 10 of his friends.
He shared it with 10 of his friends?
Yes.
Fuck.
After a motorcycle accident 2 years previously, his foot had not healed and doctors recommended amputation. The man then asked his friends, remember how we always talked about how, if we ever had the chance to ethically eat human meat, would you do it? And that led his friends to sharing the meat cut from his amputated foot.
How old was it?
2 years. 2-year-old foot.
I mean, he had to put it on in the freezer.
Yeah.
Because
Could you ask them, can I have my foot?
He's just dry aging it. He just slathers it in fucking butter and cheesecloth and just lets it sit.
Dude, I'm telling you, there's probably ways to make it taste good.
Oh, man.
There's not much meat on a foot. That's weird. So they just eating the skin or some shit.
No, it just has to. There's a little bit of meat in
the
there.
pad. The pad.
Yeah, that'd be really tough, though, wouldn't it?
I think.
Did he walk around barefoot all the time?
The whole foot would be. He lathers his foot up with lotion.
It's just a real soft
foot,
succulent toes.
Really soft, succulent foot. I don't know. There's people that are like get off on feet.
There are.
You know, I entertain the idea if I'm like watching porn or something and their like feet show up. I'm like, is he gonna fuck that foot? And it's like, it doesn't get me like excited or anything.
What if you just start to lose interest? You know?
Yeah.
and then when you're about to finish and it just shows the foot and you're like, do I stop?
Yeah, and if you're like banging feet, because you can't just bang a foot, right? Can you like take the foot and like what? Where do you come on the foot? Between the toes?
Yes, because then it's
you got
webbed,
web
right?
toes. You got a case of web toes.
You know how hard it is to spread your toes?
It's hard to clean. It's hard to clean.
Oh, it's gross.
Yeah. It's gross, but this is what this podcast is based on. Are those moments
Come
right
somewhere
there.
else.
Yeah. He's got them cum toes. A case of the cum
That's
toes.
when he lathered it up and put cheesecloth.
Yeah.
Dry aged it and cum.
He's got socks that are cheesecloth. You
He
just put them on. Slowly pull it
ties
up.
up the fucking sock and just hangs it
Yeah.
in his basement.
What if, like, that event right there, obviously there's weird shit going on with that person and all of the things. You could literally have a foot in your fucking house hanging like a fucking serial killer and be like, no, don't. And somebody freaks out. You're like, no, it's okay. It's my foot. Like, that's my foot. I'm going to eat it later. Don't worry. Okay. We want some lasagna? So apparently these These people, they're all friends. All ate it. Like he's got 10 weirdo friends.
They're like, fuck it, let's try it.
so that's
weird.
It's the question comes up like, what would if
You're
I
telling
had
me
something?
not one of those people was peer pressured into fucking eating that?
Yeah.
One guy's just like, this is a fuck. Why did I come to this dinner party?
Dude, those are the.
fuck.
I say it's weird, but there's like people that play fucking mushy cookie and they like
Yeah.
all jerk off and then
It's
you got
fucking disgusting.
people eat the cookie.
That's so gross.
Yeah, like I couldn't do that at all.
No,
Just looking around a circle.
You
like,
can't get hard, right?
The aim's all off. Like you gotta fucking aim it, dude. It's like a game of hungry.
Hey, you missed.
It's like
Why
a
are you
game
looking
of.
at my dick?
It's like a game of hungry hippos, but with your dick, and it's opposite. You're putting shit out. You're putting your balls out. You know, and you gotta eat that shit. It's just weird. Like, it's weird. But what part of David would you eat if you could? Like, if he was like, "Hey, cut off this section."
I can't fucking imagine eating somebody, but just to entertain the idea.
Yeah.
I don't know. Ribs.
Yeah, his ribs. That'd be the most. That'd be the like the easiest option, I think.
Yeah.
We should call him and like see what part he would eat of us. That would be great, but no, not doing it. Yeah, it's something to think about. It's something to think about. What part of your friend would you eat? Comment below in whatever thing. What part of your friend you would eat? I'd eat his kneecap.
I need his finger, so
yeah.
he's still alive.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
Everybody
I'm
eat it.
sorry, David. You're dead in my storyline.
Yeah.
That's a terrible friend.
He's not here. Everybody that's not on this podcast has died at some point. This is the most recent one that I wanted to focus on because it's weird. It's weird. And out of respect for the individual, I'm not putting their name on this. So, in December of 2019, a mutilated body of a 25-year-old hairstylist from Swartz Creek, Michigan, was found hanging from the ceiling in the home of a man he met on the gay dating app Grindr. The alleged murderer, who has mental health issues, said he cut off and ate his testicles.
Fuck, man.
You know,
That's sadistic.
2019.
That's like a fetish turned into cannibalism.
Yeah.
Or vice versa.
And it's just unfortunate that this dude, like, he must have had some secret knowledge of the future that he would eventually know that this is how you become the fucking ultimate man. Because he could be following the teaching of Liver King right now. But he
Eat those testicles.
Yeah, he just did it on his own. He's a trailblazer, so to speak. He just eats the gay dude's balls. It doesn't say if they're both gay. He just like
he just
Dahmer
went on the website and just went for it.
Like Dahmer was gay, right? He says it. But this dude might not be. And he's like taking things into his own hand, literally. It's like putting them in his mouth.
Take these into my own hands.
It's like you tell your friend, eat his dick, eat your fuck, or whatever. Eat his dick. Like, eat a dick, bro. Eat a dick. But he's eating balls. Put some fucking balls in your mouth. And, you know, it's an unfortunate situation, but at least this motherfucker didn't have to live through COVID that whole time. He got out of that one.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
But
It
what?
wasn't. It wasn't. And
People were like, oh, it was a terrible time in my life. It wasn't that bad for me.
yeah.
Like,
I was staying away from everybody anyway because I don't want anything to do with any of you.
I still went out and did the shit I wasn't supposed to do. So
You want to, like, you just turn on social media every so often, you're like, man, people are fucking crazy. Anyway, back to what I was doing.
yeah.
Surviving and not doing that shit. Amazing how all the stuff we were saying back then still applies to today.
Absolutely,
we're like, wow,
yeah.
this is fucking crazy. Like, there's a lot of wild people out there. There's a lot of people dying. That's it. We got one more thing to talk about, and that, of course, is our massive win from last night on fucking Call of Duty. Massive
new strategy.
massive
Felt
fucking
really-
win.
Felt really good.
We never were that good before, and then we figured something out. Like we were. Think about it.
I mean, we had our.
Jake,
I
like-
had my moments.
Yeah,
I pride myself in being decently good at the game. I died
but you're
a lot
never
by AI.
You have not. You have not been. We've all kind of been pretty even. We have our own
Yeah.
things. Like I'm a vehicle dude. I
Yeah.
fucking everybody knows it. Get the fuck out of the way. I'm
I'm
flying.
like, I'm not
Yeah.
touching the,
we
the
tried
controls
it
here.
we tried to put you in a helicopter. We're like, we're gonna fly in formation.
I'm like,
You're
how do I go up?
Oh, and you smash it. Like, there's literally one tower. You just turn away from it. You're like, oh,
I got stuck on it.
You got like, when people drive and they're like, people, hold on a second. Yeah. Like when people drive and they, I'm gonna put that actually back. It's not where I want it.
It's good. Leave it there.
When people drive and they're like hit ice and they like see a tree and it's like all the way over there and they're like, oh no, I'm gonna hit the tree, and then they make it happen. It's like that's what happened the other day when you were flying a helicopter.
Well, what's bad is
like turn around.
listen,
I was like, what the
in
fuck?
These,
You're
in
like,
these video
"Oh!"
games, I'm not a pilot. Okay,
Yeah.
I can drive decently, and in real life, I could drive anything. I'm fucking awesome. But in that video game, don't give me the controls for that vehicle.
What would we say? And we're talking about the new Modern Warfare with DMZ. It's like DMZ. It's like a mode if you haven't played it. Because I don't know how many people that follow video games on this one, but myself, Mark, and our buddy David, he's been on the podcast too, but we play this mode DMZ, and it's like getting super addictive now. Like, and because it was hard to figure out at first, because it's such a divergence from the previous modes. This is like something new, and it's fun, and it's like super intense. They have AI in it. They've got real players, and you have to figure out who the real players are. There's proximity chat. There's all this fucking new stuff that they're doing. And we all have our own like individual things that we've fallen on, right? Like you're kind of like the point man that like goes in and you're more smart and tactically smart about like going through a building or like a fight. You like have good positions always. I'm like a vehicle dude and like kind of like
and a sniper.
Yeah, sniper. I'm like fucking.
You get the high ground.
Yeah, I usually get away from everybody if I can and start hammering, or like observing where people are and putting it back to these dudes. And David is he's kind of like he's like a break the glass, let him go. And it's like, David, go over there. And he just goes.
David's the guy that spins in circles and shoots in the air.
Yeah. He's like, we need to start a fight. And he's like, say no more, fam. And he's just like, it's like, I'm out of ammo. Who's got ammo? It's like,
Hey, I'm dead. Come save me.
Bro, like we all have filled our roles. And like last night was like the most fucking eye-opening thing. We figured this out because we watched an Instagram clip of somebody doing something. So like one of the big things about this game is like there's proximity chat when you're around a real player, and the AI is challenging in its own right. There's varying degrees of it, and by AI I mean the fucking NPCs, kind of like all of you listening right now. Like there's all these characters that were around. They have varying degrees of difficulty from like you start and there's like people there and you just fucking slay all of them. Like there's 50 of them or whatever. Then it goes to like there's 3 people that like
and
a
they
whole
fucking rape
yeah,
you. Yeah,
they just kill you, like literally rape you. They come up and just fucking bend you over.
They're teabagging.
Yeah.
You. You're AI. What the fuck?
Yeah. Like they go around, heal all their teammates, and then teabag you together. But like there's all different degrees, and then you like starting to clearly see who AI is now versus like players, and you can team up with other players, or you can like fight them and just do whatever. But so like you'll go, hey, you're close enough, and you can talk. The one difference between this game and Tarkov, right? Like in terms of proximity chat, because that game is like so far fucking advanced for what it is like in that game, the proximity chat is like when you're down the hall, it echoes and shit and goes around corners, and like if there's a wall, you'll hear it muffled. It's like it's very heavy on the fucking audio in this game, and you use that in a different way. Like you try to whisper. If you whisper, they can't fucking hear you. Whereas this game, if you whisper, everybody can hear if they're close enough. And I don't know what the distance.
It's like
is
the same volume, whether
Yeah.
you're 100 feet away or right next to the person.
Yeah. So we figured this out, and you can take over this.
In
part.
the video that we watched, it shows somebody saying, "Hey, when you're climbing ladders, just yell the whole time."
Yeah.
So they can't hear the like they're coming up behind you on the ladder. So
Because it's heavy on audio too, and you can tell like somebody's climbing up, like AI and otherwise.
yeah, so this like we said, the sound effects may differ from the sound of somebody's voice in the chat.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
if it's proximity chat, like we said, it's the same volume as if they're 100 feet away versus if they're right next to you. But if it's the sound effects from the game, that differs because they make it like reality, right? So the closer they are, the louder it is, and they differ in sounds, right? So the technique here is to just yell into your fucking microphone as you're going up the ladder, so it muffles that sound effect and only projects your voice. So they're like, I don't know where this person is, but you're coming up the ladder fucking 3 feet away from them. So they're looking over the edge of this balcony like, where is he? I hear him, but I don't see him. And he's just going, ah.
And it's so if they change that to where you can hear the direction, things are going to fucking change.
Oh, yeah.
Because nobody's going to do that anymore. They're going to try to be fucking sneaky again. But this is if you play this new DMZ shit, it's such a fucking amazing tactic, and it works every goddamn time. We had 3 when we were like, man, we're not doing that great because we didn't run into any regular players. Then we ran into the first real team, and we started doing it. But it started off because there's a lot of people from Mexico or Spanish speaking people that play DMZ also in this area in Pacific Northwest. And so you hear people speaking Spanish. And so we like go like this, as bad as that sounds.
We
right?
said a couple things in Spanish, but we're not fluent.
Like, where's the bathroom and some other shit.
Talked about chorizo and tacos, you know.
Yeah. I say donde está el baño, and like that's kind of a thing I do. And then I go like that, and I'm running around. David's fucking doing whatever he does, and I don't know what you're doing. You're speaking Spanish.
I was
right?
trying to talk to him, and then
yeah. So, but the greatest part about it is you like if you're just fight people and you're talking, and then you fight, people know where you're getting shot from.
Yeah.
But when you start using this tactic, no one can tell where the fuck they're even getting shot from.
So especially when they're trying to talk to each other, but you are overpowering their voice with your voice constantly. So this isn't like you're just talking in Spanish and stopping and then listening. You're talking the whole fucking time to overpower their chat. So they can't talk to each other, but at the same time, they can't hear the sound effects of the game. So even better, in our second instance of this happening, we hit
around
with
the radio. Or
yes,
with the music?
Because
this would be, we did it 3 times.
Okay, is this the third time?
We had the third game where we ran into.
Yeah. So the last game.
Yeah.
So what was the second one? I don't remember.
Second one, same thing.
Okay,
but it was I think it was like the 2 teams or something like that.
Yeah. So that's right. Yeah.
Because we did it one time and it was like across the map, and then when we were at the actual exfil point with the helicopter and like the truck that was going around, that was number 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
The third time was the best one though.
Oh, absolutely.
So we all hit around an exfil point at different places. And the plan here was to wait for another team to come in to exfil, and we were going to surprise them by playing music and attacking at the same time. Right?
And it was "Come on, Ride the Train" from the fucking 90s.
Come on, ride the train.
I had my fucking Bluetooth speaker right by my microphone, ready to go, and I was like, "This is what's going to happen." Like what was the plan? You're like, I'm gonna say no.
So I was gonna give the signal of when to attack, and it wasn't gonna be until they called in this helicopter. So we're gonna catch them really off guard, right? So we had David as the lookout. He sees a vehicle approaching from the distance, and we're like, all right, everybody be quiet. So we're not talking to each other. We already have the plan in place.
I was up on the tower.
He was up on the tower, and I was the closest to the exfil. So I was gonna be the one to call it and then attack first. So these people drive up, and you can hear them talking because of the proximity chat. That's how you know they're in range. David tags the vehicle so we know the actual placement of where it is because you can see it on your mini-map. They come into the area, and they call on the exfil, and I go, now! So they're like, what the fuck? And then, boom, the music starts, and Mike jumps off the tower, and I'm shooting, and David throws 2 Molotov cocktails, and
I hit it with
chaos.
I hit it with 2 grenades, too. And there was a guy on top of it. So I hit it with 2 sticky grenades, and I'm fucking heavy machine gun. There's a guy on top. I'm shooting him, and the fucking vehicle is on fire, and it goes boom, 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 boom. And these dudes, like, we're all fucking dying laughing. They're laughing, and they're like, "Fuck you, dudes! Fuck you guys!" We slaughtered all of their team.
And at the end of it, like after it was done, we had the music still playing, but some of the guys were like, "That was pretty funny."
Yeah, that like. I don't think anybody on all 3 times we took any rounds.
No, dude,
because like
I watched too chaotic.
I watched the guys like shooting at their own fucking dudes because they don't know where the fuck anybody's coming.
Yeah.
So it's hilarious. If you have that game and you want to try that, fucking you'll see immediate results. Your fucking kill to death ratio will go up.
Record it happening and
Yeah.
tag us because we want to see that shit.
That's
It's fucking funny.
That's the one thing that is like, you brought it up last night, but you're like, oh, we should have recorded that. It's like, yeah, but I don't think about that because the Twitch stream isn't like super popular.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't think about it. I just want to have a good time, but we might in the future. Like, but we have to have that plan. Like, we're going to do the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
That was hilarious, dude. The best fucking.
You know what's gonna happen now?
What?
Is we're gonna go to Xfil, and somebody's gonna fucking ambush our team, and then they're gonna take the video and tag us in it, and
Yeah,
we'll be
yeah.
like, "That was us." Fuck.
Fucking dope.
They
dude.
used it on us.
Hey, but, and we're teaching people shit. We're teaching people stuff. They're learning.
It was
something.
fucking awesome though.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yes, it was. But that was probably the funnest in a game I've had
Yeah.
in fucking forever. Because I don't play that many video games other than like with you guys. And it's just like that was
To
just
have
a
that
blast.
music was just like icing on the cake, man. To use that hyperbole, right?
I was like, is that going to be our fucking like our tag now? If people hear that, you're like, watch out for the guys that play the train.
watch out for the
song.
train, guys.
Yeah.
We're gonna use it.
The Come On Ride the Train song was picked because like we go on, there's a train that goes around the map, and I thought it was funny, like proximity chat, put that on and people hear that song
As
Come
the
On
trains,
Ride the Train.
as the train's passing by.
And
them.
I was like, let's use that for the fucking ambush. Like, so, but yeah, it would be awesome if the proximity chat like got gradually louder. So it was like, you hear it and you're like, what the fuck is that? Come on, ride the train. Be like, fuck. And then you could get everybody on there just shooting up in the sky and like partying. It would be better if you get like a massive like fight going on, like fist fight where other teams come in and you like set something up and you have just like a massive brawl with like just a fucking 30-man brawl, like with
That'd be funny.
Rumble, or what is it? What's that? King of the Ring or some shit.
Yeah, so there's a stadium in the game, right? So what if you like just type in when you start the game, like, hey, everybody meet at the stadium, let's box. Everybody just goes there.
But then the problem is you have to like, you can't trust that people won't come in and fucking
there's gonna
blast,
be there's
dude.
absolutely gonna be people in the stands just blasting at you.
Yeah.
That's always how it goes.
And it looked like cameras in a stadium. Like flashes from a camera.
Yeah. You're looking up, oh fuck.
Yeah. Dude, that would be the fucking best. Do a boxing round and there's like one person that could win.
Or you do it like Fight Club, right? So it's like 1-on-1, 1v1. Everybody else is just in the stands just watching.
Dude, fucking dope. You got
Coliseum style.
I'm pretty sure you have to have like you have to set that up somehow.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Through a whatever. We should set it up through the fucking podcast. You want to play DMC with us? Fucking box? Yeah, do it. We'll put money on it. Throw some fucking...
So we've seen some
you
videos.
You can throw money down and be like, how much money is that equated to an actual real number? And then they fucking do like an underground DMC boxing match. That'd be fucking awesome.
Oh man,
legitimately possible.
Yeah, I've seen videos NFTs. Of like boxing matches in DMZ where they're like, the people are like, hey, let's box, because they use the proximity chat. So like, all right, I'm out in the open. They throw all their weapons and stuff down and their armor and shit, and they're like, all right, let's go. And the guy jumps down, and then they just start boxing. Whoever wins wins. That's fucking.
we gotta do that one time. Like one of the games we gotta do is we could do the ambush constantly, right? Like that's an easy win. But we could also like run up and be like, hey, how many people you got? You want to box?
They do
3 versus
that,
3?
Do that at an exfil.
Yeah,
so like
that's what I'm saying.
Somebody calls in the chopper, you're like, hey, when that chopper gets here,
only one team leaves.
The winner leaves. Yeah. So let's fucking box.
Yeah, we gotta do it. There's fun ways to fucking involve yourself in this game.
You can involve yourself with other people.
Yeah.
Sometimes people are really spicy on
fucking
that game.
assholes.
They get really upset about things. It's a fucking video game.
Yeah.
If I get my ass kicked in the video game, I'm not like, I'm gonna fucking hunt you down and kill your mother.
Like that one guy that messaged you later.
Yeah,
after.
dude.
Like, it's like, I'll see you guys soon.
We
like,
killed
what?
the guy, and he found, like, he went back into his history, found me, added me as a friend. I didn't add him. And then he sends me a message, and he's like, see you and your friends soon. I'm like, what the fuck?
Good times. We might be getting eaten soon.
Hang my
Can
foot
eat
up.
this dick.
Somebody's gonna hang my foot up in a cum rag.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, fucking good times. Thank you for listening to this podcast. Appreciate it. Again, please share and follow this podcast. Share it, rate it, do whatever you want. Just to at least comment. We have some of the most uninvolved fucking listeners.
Play it while you cook human meat.
And I don't mean that to shit on anybody, but what I'm saying is, like, I need for this podcast to grow. I know you want to keep it to yourself because it's like some great secret, but please interact. Like, give us a like on comments or on anything that you see Violent Professional related, because there's a podcast network. There's 2 podcasts in this fucking bitch now. Violent Professional Podcast Network. What did I just say?
You
Am I
said-
gonna have to beep the necker?
You used a K. Necker.
Yeah. That'd be weird if I called it that, actually. It's the Violent Professional Podcast Network. No, it's a tongue twister, but there's 2 podcasts now. We've got Violent Professional Podcast and
Mega Cosmic Adventure.
Mega Cosmic Adventure. We've got 4 individuals that voice that. We also have a professional voice actor that has been on fairs such as Red Dead Redemption 2 and We Bear Bears. It's like a Cartoon Network show for kids and twinks
And
alike.
people that can't fall asleep,
Yeah. There's some funny shit on it. It's got adult humor in it.
like every cartoon these days.
Yeah. And so, and there's a lot of work that goes into it, a lot of editing, a lot of creative shit that we bring to the table. It's improvised comedy with a science fiction twist, sort of. So go check out Mega Cosmic Adventure. Also, if you want to support this podcast and get something cool as well, that was good. Go get some Strike Force Energy. You can get it at strikeforceenergy.com. Use code Evil Vibes.
Don't drink it like that. I mean,
Yeah.
if you do, take a video and tag them and us in it.
It's I like the pump bottle because you can just
The
have
pump
this-
goes on top of this.
Yeah. The pump, you put it in your butt and then squeeze. No, the pump bottle, you can buy it at strikeforceenergy.com. Use code Evil Vibes, get 20% off. It helps this podcast out because it's referring them or referring you to buy it. And then you can also do a membership and then get that every month. I used to get this constantly. I haven't recently, but I gotten like the packets, like the little packets.
Yeah.
But I used to get that all the time until I was just drinking the whole fucking thing in a few days and I was out. Like I was like, I can't.
You're like, I shouldn't be
Yeah.
doing this,
It's
but I'm
so
doing it anyways.
it's so good that I like decided I have to quit
Well,
for a while.
People love flavor.
yeah, yeah.
You
and
know,
it's-
if you put some of this and marinate your human meat with it,
Yeah.
Strike Force.
or if
Energy.
you or if you have to get the courage up to eat some human meat and you're like, I gotta really fucking bludgeon
Get
this
jacked
dude to
on
death,
Strike Force.
bludgeon this dude to death and eat his foot in a sheet of cheesecloth.
in a feet.
Yeah.
a feat
Get
of strength.
some Strike Force Energy on board and use code Evil Vibes when you do, and you get 20% off and fucking helps this podcast grow. It's great shit. Yeah,
It's grape shit.
it's grape shit. That's my favorite flavor, actually.
Grape shit.
Grape shit. Let me see what this says. So I'm not fucking off. This is why we need the TV up there so I can just look at this stuff because I like to close it out. All right. On Mega Cosmic Adventure, you can find us on all social medias. Not all. I don't know.
Most.
We're not. Yeah.
Most popular ones.
Go check out this website for this podcast, violentprofessional.com. There's a bunch of links on there with fucking other sponsors of this podcast that you can get discounts on. Except for Ping Pong Tactical, because I don't know where Logan is. He disappeared. Maybe after our fucking Bohemian Grove episode, they came and got him.
Maybe.
He's got the secret knowledge. And last but not least, check out TaskDev, TaskDev.org. Mark's wearing the shirt. Can't see that. I'll tell you about it on audio because not everybody's watching this. He's got the shirt, the TaskDev shirt, super dope logo. But our group is a nonprofit 501c4 social welfare organization. We do cool shit out in the woods and involve people from the community to go do cool stuff. So go there, check it out, buy some T-shirts, help the organization because we would appreciate it. Because
There's
it helps us
shorts.
cool-
There's shorts and hats and other cool shit too,
Yeah.
flags and such. You should buy stuff and
Should buy
tag
stuff.
TaskDev.
Because if you
in your
like any of
pictures.
this stuff, like it all fucking helps everything out. We get to do cool stuff out in the woods with people. We get to do cool stuff in here. We get to sell fucking. It's like a pyramid scheme, right?
Not really. So
It's a pinnacle program.
It's a pinnacle program. But here's the thing. Out of all the stuff that we push for purchase, right? Go buy this, go tag us in the things that you've bought, right? And your pictures. We don't take profit from.
I take a
people-
little bit of profit.
Well, that for the
You're
equip-
helping me. survive.
you're taking profit for the equipment that you're putting everything back into it.
Yes, I have made fucking $0 off of this.
That's the
podcast
thing.
because
So
I love it so
right?
much.
So aside from the podcast, we have TaskDev and stuff like that. So we're making money off of the things we're selling, but everything goes back into this whole concept of
Yeah.
building it. So it takes a long time to build stuff, and we're trying to do that organically. We're not
Yeah.
taking huge grants from the government to fucking buy vehicles and tag TaskDev on the side
Yeah,
of them.
we're not-
as we've
we're
been
not
accused
saying-
of in the past.
Yeah, yeah. We're not like a 501c3 where we can just get these massive
Tax breaks.
grants and stuff because no one will donate to things like that. 501c4, and I think it's a worthwhile cause. And like all this stuff that we're doing collectively spawned off of like the initial businesses and then brought into this with like everybody involved is we're trying to provide value to you guys and girls that listen to this or
entertainment. We're trying to entertain you, have a good time, because we enjoy doing this for fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're gonna do it regardless if we get money back or not.
Yeah.
So,
and I do it honestly, like, because I enjoy, like, we all have different reasons for doing this stuff. You, me, David, whoever's been a part of the podcast, or any of the stuff, Aries, Tastev, so on and so forth. But we all have different reasons. I enjoy the process of like taking, for the podcast specifically, I like taking stuff and I'm not so into the idea of like putting myself out there like visually, and God knows nobody wants to see that. No, but I like taking the fucking thing we build out of our face holes and like going on the computer, doing the editing, like seeing what it turns into, doing the thumbnails. That's like my favorite fucking part about it. And then I also like the lights and shit. Like, you didn't even say anything about those fucking lights right there. There's lights right there.
oh, nice.
Don't mind the fucking white spots. I ripped off some drywall to do that. There's some fucking stuff going on up there. It's good you can't see it.
I love it.
No, but I enjoy that part, and then the Tastev stuff, passionate about, because it's like it's a easy way to get everybody together to do cool stuff. Like right now, this weekend, you're going out to a winter camp.
Yeah.
To go play in the snow.
Yeah. This Strike Force is actually a prize for a snow sculpture contest.
Yeah. And I guarantee it's going to be nothing but fucking penises.
I mean, you never know. Somebody
Yeah.
might make a huge vagina in the snow. I don't know.
Really? 5 dicks? Snow dicks?
I have,
There's
to,
snow
I
out
have
there?
to judge penises? Is that what
Yeah,
you're saying? Damn it. This one's girthy.
And the way you judge is how many of them you can put in your butt. Anyway.
Somebody's going to make an atomically correct, like, small one. I'm like, that's really...
Why are you laying
That looks
there?
really...
Why are you laying
accurate.
next to your sculpture?
Like, where is he? Oh, he's
It
under the
looks
snow.
so real. You use coloring? Anyway, had a great time. This episode's cool. I think we're gonna try to do more of these. I'm gonna get back to doing some by myself in my room. I've got a few lined up. Like, I'm gonna just talk to you guys in my room.
He's laying down.
Yeah.
He's got his hand like this.
No, I enjoy these
Hey, guys.
podcasts. I enjoy these. What is I'm just doing this. I should.
Well,
do
you're
that.
laying down. You got to
Yeah.
prop your head somehow. You're not just on your pillow.
Yeah, I'll get a couch right there and just do it. I enjoy doing the podcast where we talk to each other and other people and stuff, but there's something special to me also about doing it solo, because like that's where I say a bunch of shit that can get me in trouble, and I somehow fucking turn it into whatever the fuck it is. And that is fun, because it's like
Classic,
my brain
dude.
just going, and I'm like, I don't even know what I talked about. And some of the wild, like, it's much like running for me is like where I get some ideas, and I don't really talk about this, but when I'm like feeling down or whatever, and I'm not a big runner at all, even though I'm running a lot right now. Running, all of a sudden I get fucking weird ideas that pop in my head, and that's
Those
where
endorphins, dude. They're getting you fucking high.
So it, like a lot of fucking weird shit comes comes into my brain when I run, and I get some ideas, at least one each time. And then I make a mental note, or I write it down, or talking to my phone or whatever, and then I try to apply it and see if I can make it into something. And a lot of the Mega Cosmic Adventure shit that I was telling you about the other day, that's from like running. I was like, this would be a great idea for the outline of this. Though it's kind of like that, a free thought experiment, where I just let my mouth run, and then just stuff comes out, and I go off on like a conversation between us. It's like me in my room, fucking just, or in the studio, just talking, and I just bounce shit off myself. So it's different, but I enjoy them both. But I'm also gonna get back into like the solo shit, which people seem to like.
Oh yeah, dude.
So.
It's very entertaining.
Yeah.
And it's a good mix, like when you have those solo podcasts versus when you have like myself and David on.
Yeah.
Because it breaks up that monotony, and you're like, oh, I don't want to hear Mark's voice again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or I don't want to just listen to Mike again.
Yeah.
So it breaks up the monotony, and it entertains. And that's what's cool, is we have that ability to, since we're so close in proximity, we can do that here. you know?
Yeah. Yep. And for all the people that say, is this thing still going on? Because I heard that the other day from somebody. They're like, oh, you're still doing that little thing? It's like, yes, I am. I enjoy it. Well, how are you making money off of it? Not. I like, even if I am making money off of something, I like to tell people I'm not. That's my thing that I do specifically, even though I know like some of the things like Aries, when I was making a fucking good living off of that, when I was doing that, people would be like, oh, you're still doing that thing? It's like, yeah, still doing it. I was like, do you make much money doing that? And me knowing I was like,
nah.
I just do it. I like to be printing shit. Like, it's fun. And I fuck with people that way. Because fuck you if you say that and you doubt me. I've got reasons for doing things. And if you doubt me also, that's fine too. So I'm going to do what I want. You can eat my butthole. Literally. And I've taught
Cannibalism.
We've taught you how to do that today. Slow cooked and over a fucking open fire. Anyway. Yeah. That's probably the best way, dude.
It's got to be.
Anyway.
Season that bitch up with some two-step.
Thank you for checking out the Violent Professional Podcast. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.